Well, hello there, Ange. Hello again. Um, Firstly, I was rather disturbed to hear that you said that you didn't have any sound on the previous video I sent you, which is rather worrying because I sent it in the same way as the others I've sent. So I don't know what was going on there. Maybe the sound was just turned down or something. Anyway, hopefully this is working. Otherwise, I'm just sitting here making gestures and pulling faces and things for no reason. So hopefully you've got sound on this. Um, what I'll do is I'll put this one on YouTube, and I'll send a video file as well. So hopefully one of those two things will work. The reason I put it on eBay is because I can see if it's been watched. Not eBay, YouTube, is that I can see if it's been watched. In fact, the one you talk about has been watched 4 times. So whether it's just been watched with no sound, it certainly works over here. When I click on it, it seems to work. Anyway, that's the technical. I'll put a note in with the when I send this thing off, and if there's a problem, get it back to me. If it's not working for some reason, I might have to go back to typing, which will be a bit of a pain because I won't be able to spend quite so much time doing that because my typing is awful. Anyway, that's the technicalities out of the way. Obviously, we got your email, which details your latest health update, I suppose. Must have been pretty scary lying around on a floor like that. I suppose I had the cat's company anyway. And I suppose the blessing is you didn't break anything or hurt anything, isn't it? I know that when Maggie's mum lived next door, she had one of those buttons to alert us, and we did spend quite a lot of time going around there over the years. Because she was falling over all over the place, and I suppose it's a great comfort, isn't it, to have that sort of thing compared with what people used to have to do in the old days, which was make sure they were near a phone, I guess. So that's that bit, I suppose. Also, this morning I just got quite a long email. I think it was sent a little while ago, but I think they must have an old email address, so I must update them on that. From Debbie, and she is talking about, she's given an update on the latest care situation that you're in, and that she's been made, what's it called, executor, and got power of attorney and all that sort of stuff. Which is good. It's nice you've got all that sort of thing sorted out, isn't it? It must be comforting to know that. They're quite a formal letter, really, is it? Do you know, I don't know whether we met her or not. She says we haven't met, but I'm sure I seem to remember meeting one of the distant cousins in your house in Cottesmore Road. I'm sure I did. Maybe she'd come over to London or something. I don't know. Maybe it was one of the others. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. Anyway, it's very, very nice email. Lots of information on there. And she says about your being moved on to another category of care, which is good. And you're certainly from what I can see, you're certainly far better off than you would be if you were over here. I'm sure that Digby and Tina would be quite happy if they got that amount of help looking after Dad. It's his birthday today, by the way. I sent some bits and pieces off a card and things to him the other day. So that's that. What else can I tell you about? We might be seeing Colin in next month, which will be quite good. Maggie and I went up to stay in Bedford the other week because we wanted to go to the Bletchley Park Museum, where they do all the code breaking, the Enigma code and all that sort of stuff. I don't know if you've seen the films. The Imitation Game, the one that was on recently. And we asked him if we could, come and see him, but he wasn't, he's a strange sort of chap, and he wasn't really amenable to visits and things. But he said he's coming down to Ramsgate next month, so maybe we could arrange to meet then. I think he's a very private person. He doesn't want, he wants to meet people on his own terms, I guess. but that's, you know, it's his choice. I guess I think he was poorly. I think he alluded to having a health scare or something last year, but he seems to be okay now. So that was a bit of family news. What else? You got pictures of the wedding, I understand, from Lucy, which is nice. All the photography there was done by Getty, the company she works for, which is which was good. They did do some video as well. I don't know whatever happened to that. They certainly had a video recorder running, so I don't know whether that's been published yet. I have to ask Lucy about that one or two. Yeah. So and Lucy's very busy. I think she's just had a promotion at work or something. I know she's pretty busy. Or maybe somebody's away pregnant or something, covering a pregnancy. But she sort of goes off to Cannes Film Festival and off to Berlin Film Festival and stuff to do work, which is quite good. I suppose a bit of quite sad news, I suppose, is that Alice and Christian have broken up after 10 years, which is very sad, really, because, you know, we're very fond of Christian, and it's sort of, I mean, it was on Alice's instigation, but it's not like there's anybody else. It's just she sort of, I don't know, I think she felt it was a bit sort of stale. It wasn't really going anywhere, which is very sad, really. I mean, they both remained, you know, friends with each other. I mean, they share a huge circle of friends, but it's a bit sad. Maggie was a bit upset about it because, you know, he's a very nice chap, and we've known him for longer than 10 years because he was we met him when he was at university with Lucy. But obviously Alice is very, very busy at the moment with her work. She's working on this new project. She's sort of self-employed. She's in partnership with this guy from America, and they're working on this fancy hotel in Oslo, which is very, very exciting. You know, it's got quite a prestigious project she's working on, so that keeps her busy. But obviously, I guess when she gets home, you know, he's moved out to a flat with one of his mates, but Alice is just going home on her own at the moment. So, in fact, she's just got in touch with us yesterday and said she'd gone to Sri Lanka for a holiday, which I suppose is quite nice, isn't it? To go into a displacement activity. Chloe is going to be doing. She's working on. She's done it for the last 3 years. Actually, she did it's like an opera in Birmingham, and they have proper opera singers and things, but all the chorus is, I don't know what you'd call them. They are a collection of people from the local community. They'd be, you know, ex-offenders and drug addicts and homeless people and, you know, alcoholics and all. You know, it's a band of, you know, sort of immigrants and all sorts of, you know, a disparate group of people. You know, it's like a community project, and she's done it the last couple of years. And I've been up the last couple of years to see it. And this weekend, both Mag and I are going to go and see it. And when she's finished that, her and Tom and another few bods are going to spend. I mean, the plan is to spend a year walking around the coast of Britain. And sort of living in sleeping bags and under canvassing and under tents and foraging and things like that. They did it last year in Sweden. Or was it the year before last? Whenever, anyway, that must have been the year before last. And you know, I don't know. The Swedish experience was really quite good because they were invited into schools to talk about what they were doing, and she said the people were very nice and they take them in and give them dinners and let them use their showers and things like that. So they're doing that sort of thing, and I think the idea is they're going to start up in Scotland and sort of work their way round the coast, coming south as it gets colder. You know, obviously they don't want to be spending winter on the coast of Scotland particularly. So that's Chloe's project. What else is new? Sam is moving. He's got this old, I don't know if you know the story, he's got this old house in Merryworth, just the other side of Maidstone, not far from Barming actually. I was thinking about Barming the other day. I was trying to remember where that, because I do quite a lot of the driving work I do quite often takes me around that neck of the woods. And I was trying to remember where, Barming Sporting Club was, the place you work with Danny Lynch. I may vaguely remember where it was. It's probably been built over now. It's probably been torn down and covered in housing estates, as most places around there are. I was trying to work out where it was. I don't suppose you can remember an address of it. It'd be interesting to see what it looked like. I vaguely remember it being stuck in the middle of some woods somewhere. But I guess, as I say, quite a lot of the area over there now is built on. Anyway, that's by the by. Anyway, Sam's house is this really, really old house, 1720 or something. And obviously he wants to do it up a bit, but he's having lots and lots of trouble with planning because of preservation orders and things. But he's finally got the go-ahead. So he's going to move. They live in like a one room in the garden. I don't know what it was, some sort of outhouse or something. No bigger than a garage, really. And they have to walk across, during the night to get, if they want to go to the loo or something, to the main house. So it's quite an interesting existence. But anyway, the work is due to start on that soon. So they've moved out. They're going to move out. Sam and Sam are going to move to Dad's old flat in Raynham. And so they're tarting that up a little bit because it was getting a bit rough around the edges. So Meg and I went up there yesterday and spent the day with him, paint rolling. He managed to get quite a lot done actually. We got a whole bedroom done really. We got the ceiling done and the walls done. So that was pretty good. What else can we tell you about? It's chilly today actually. We've just had the warmest February on record. It's been absolutely mad. Sort of shirt sleeve weather in February. It's crazy. I mean, it's cool. It's cooled off again now. Now we're in March. I think it's the warmest. It was the warmest February on record. It was sort of in the 20s. It's just weird. Disorientating. Because you'd wake up in the morning, it'd be frosty, but when the sun came up, it was just baking. It was mad. So you were scraping the windows of the cars first thing. And then, by mid-morning you're walking around in shirt sleeves. Crazy. So that's the sort of the weather update for this place. We've got some storm Freya or something coming over and out. It was really windy yesterday. But today's calmed down a little bit. I've got to go off. I'm going off to the. I've got to go and see a specialist this afternoon. I don't know if I told you, my heart's starting to do some funny things. Atrial fibrillation, it's called, where you get irregular beat and you sort of lose all your energy and stuff. So I've got to go down and have a bit of a test on that, which is extremely frustrating because it means I can't do my running. I do running every week normally on a Saturday morning. Do 5k runs, and the last month, 2 months now, goodness gracious, since Christmas, I've had to. I've been marshalling down there and things, which is a little bit frustrating. So anyway, hopefully they can sort this thing out. There are various things they can do apparently. It's all to do with the fact, because I had a hole in the heart, it means the top part of my heart, the atria, are bigger than they should be. So when signals travel round it, rather than going from A to B, they sort of go to A to Z to W to Q to blah, 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 and then to B, which means that the whole, rather than the muscle going boom, 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 it sort of goes blah, 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 like that. And it's rather curious. It's quite a curious sensation. I was talking to one of the other marshals down there. He's a doctor, and he knew all about it. And he said it's like having somebody put a brick under your accelerator pedal on your car. So you put your foot down, nothing really happens. You don't. When I was running, I wasn't feeling out of breath or anything like that, but I just couldn't I just couldn't run. It's weird experience. Anyway, I'm hoping I'm getting that sorted out. What else can we tell you about? I've had very little work. In fact, I've had more in 2019. I've had more film work, more days doing filming than I have driving. In fact, I've had more days because sometimes I go down and I do teaching assistant work down at Mag's school, usually with kids that need special help, because they need special needs, they call it these days. And I've got I've got a whole week of that coming up next week. I said I'll do a whole week with this chap who needs some help. So it's been the opposite way round. Normally I used to get a lot of driving, a bit of teaching, and then a tiny bit of filming, and it's been completely the other way around this time, which is quite bizarre. Which is okay because I make a lot more money doing filming than I do these other things. The others are minimum wage. So that's been keeping me reasonably busy. Maggie's still umming and ahhing about whether she wants to retire. I mean, she still loves doing the teaching, being in with the kids, but there's just so much. The paperwork she has to do is just ridiculous. Tons and tons and tons of it. And she's finding that a little bit wearing. You have to write things about every single kid in the class has to have things written about them all the time, and it's just getting ridiculous, really. I don't know how people can do it these days, really. So she's umming and ahhing about retiring. So this might be her last year, but we don't know yet. I think she probably realises you're a long time retired, and I don't think she's ready to potter around in the garden full time yet. Though we have just got an allotment after about 5-6 years of waiting. It's just over from not far from where we are, just next to the railway line over there. In fact, if I pulled a house down, I could see it from here. So we made a start on that about a month ago, which involved me slaughtering myself digging this massive muddy hole to try and get rid of all the weeds and things, which was quite hard work. So the plan is we've got a conservatory full of these little potatoes with shoots poking out of them at the moment. So that's the next project. What else can I say? I think that's about it. I need to be. So I thought I'd get in touch because I did get this thing from Debbie this morning. So what I'll do is I'll get back to her and sort of thank her for her note and give her my up-to-date email, because I actually got this message from Digby and Tina because apparently they'd tried to send it via my old Wanadoo. I don't know why they've got the Wanadoo address. We haven't had that for years. Anyway, I think that's about it. What else was I going to say? Can't think now. Camera shy. Well, I hope everything's going all right over there, and you'll get all these new, what is it, Meals on Wheels and things. I guess the Australian equivalent of Meals on Wheels, and hot and cold running helpers tending to your every need. Keep pumping out the platelets as best you can. It's funny old business, isn't it? It's like you've got no control over it at all. Did they take a sample of bone marrow? I know they did with me when I had my too many platelets. It involved screwing this thing. It was like a white corkscrew, and they screwed it into my hip bone. I mean, it's quite brutal. I mean, but basically, screw it in, and then they pull it out, and the bits that are left stuck on it, they analyse, which was actually as brutal as it sounds. Anyway, that's how they discovered that my bone marrow wasn't doing its job. But bizarrely, that's gone back to normal completely. If I presented now, in fact, I haven't been for a test for about 4 years, I think now. They said when I've been going there for every 6 months for God knows how long, and they said, well, we don't really need to do this anymore. You know, if you presented now, we'd say, oh, your plate is at the high end of normal, which is crazy, isn't it? Because they told me when I got it, it would go up and up and up and up. So I suppose we should be grateful for small mercies in that line. Right, that's that. I think I might have to do one of these. I don't think I've got time. I'll do it later when I get back. Do one of these for Dad. Send him a little birthday message. In fact, I think where they are in Ceredigion, I think that was one of the hottest places in the country, which is extraordinary, really, because normally they're, whenever you look on the weather map, they're sort of underneath a cloud. It's the wettest place in the country, from what I can see. Anyway, love to you and you all out there. I hope this thing works, and as I say, I'll put 2 versions of it on. Hopefully one of them will work. If not, let me know. And I don't know what to do if it doesn't work. That's it. Turn the sound up on the computer. That's all I can say. Okay then. See you then. Oh, Mag's at work. She would send her love if she was here, obviously. But she's Monday morning up to her ears in 9-year-olds. See you then. Bye bye.